Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Nope, good morning. I was just in Lockport, and it's great to be here. First, I want to wish everybody a happy 4th of July. Let's hope the weather gets a little better. I think it's getting better and better. And I would like to say this. When the Founding Fathers, this is not our stuff we're doing today, but when the Founding Fathers had finished writing the Constitution, they said they had just created God's noble experiment. God's noble experiment. Those were the three words they used to describe America. And I believe if you think about it, that is all three words are still true to this day. We are still God's noble experiment. And I know some people get frustrated and throw their hands up and everything else, but America is a practical, problem-solving country. And even in the worst of times, we solve our problems, and I believe we will at every level. So that's good. And second, I was asked to tell a family story by somebody or other, because I always do when I'm here. Who asked me?
Right here.
Yes, okay. Well, here's my family story today. My dad, he struggled his whole life. He had a little exterminating business, hated his job. He came back, he was a navigator in World War II. He's from Utica, New York. When he came back, my grandfather had bought a little business, and it was not a good businessman. My father was the oldest of all the boys in the family, so he had to take it over, and he hated it. So every Sunday night, my brother, sister, and I would hear him pacing the floor because he hated going to work Monday morning. And at 70, he retired, and he became happy. And the reason I tell this is one of the greatest days of my life was just a week ago, Saturday, Flag Day, June 14th, when he turned 90, and in from around the country flew all his grandchildren and all his children and their respective spouses, and everyone got up. We had dinner at our favorite little German steak restaurant in Brooklyn called Peter Luger's, if you've ever heard of it. It's very good steak. And everyone told stories about my dad, and it was one of the great days of my life. So that's my family story. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. And I hope everybody else can experience something so beautiful and wonderful. You get joy from your children, but I also get joy from my parents, particularly my dad, who now enjoys life when he struggled for so many years. Okay, but we're here today to talk about this great village of Williamsville. And I want to thank first and foremost Mayor Culpa. He is a great guy. I know him well. I got to know the Culpa family because one of the best workers I ever had was Katie Culpa, who started out in our Albany office because she went to UAlbany, right, and worked for Steve Mann. And then she graduated and worked in our Washington office and was one of the best workers we ever had. And now, of course, she is lucky, or Western New York is lucky that she is working for UB and does a great job over there. And 2 Saturdays ago, I think the same day of my father's party, she just got married to a lovely young man who couldn't be here today. And so that's how I got to know Brian. And there's some, I've met Mrs. Culpa before. I just met Mr. Culpa. I asked how many other kids they had. They have 2 more, they have 4. And I said, there must be something special about them, too, because the 2 I know are great. So good job. Maybe you should have a few more. It's not too late. Although you have some nice grandchildren. So anyway, I want to thank Brian for the great job he does. He's a public servant par excellence. I also want to thank Allie McPherson. She's the Riverkeeper Director of Advancement. Paul Iskolo and David Chiazza of Iskolo Development. Howard Casmus of Sweet Jenny's. Maria McPeak, who's head of the McPeck, right?
Correct.
Okay, McPeak. When you get old, you need glasses to read. Maria McPeak of the Williamsville Business Association, and many other representatives of the village government, village businesses, and just local residents. And what are we here to talk about today? We're here today to talk about a vision for the future. The folks here from the village of Williamsville have a plan. They call it Picture Main Street. And I'm here to lend my voice to their cause and to use my influence to help secure federal funding for this wonderful plan. First, let me talk about why we need the plan and what it'll do, and then about my push to secure the necessary funding. Now, as you can see, if you just drove down it, Main Street's a bustling thoroughfare that connects East and West Williamsville. It serves as a major commuter route for people, not just from Williamsville, but from Amherst and other neighboring communities. The street is wide, but it is very, very busy. It's one of the major thoroughfares in this part of Western New York. And it operates at or above capacity most of the time. That spells gridlock. It spells bumper-to-bumper traffic, frustration for commuters coming home from work, and a headache from local residents. And because it's a wide street, and we have a large number of elderly, particularly here in Williamsville, it's hard to cross the street. It's a wide, busy street, and if you don't walk that fast, that creates difficulty. And I know because, you think, should I cross? The light just when did the light turn green, et cetera, et cetera. So when pedestrians can't safely cross the street to get to their next local stop, they say, I'm going to shop somewhere else. So it hurts local businesses as well. Now, these may seem like little problems, but put them together and they add up. They hold back the village's economic potential. So there's got to be a better way to manage both the automobile and pedestrian traffic here on Main Street. Thankfully, the village of Williamsville has put such a plan together, and it's called Picture Main Street. It helps balance the needs of the commuting public with the quality of life desired by village residents. No one's saying it shouldn't be a thoroughfare, and we want people to go to work and want to have jobs, and downtown Buffalo's creating a few more jobs, and that's good for the whole community. That's all good. But we want to have the balance. And furthermore, not only does it create a balance between commuting and residents, it also incorporates a new plan that's going to attract new visitors and grow the already bustling local business district. This business district's doing well, but it can always do better, and we should build on some of our strengths. The plan outlines a variety of strategies and improvements to address the issues I mentioned. It includes streetscape work, pedestrian-friendly lights, extended sidewalks, pocket parks, village lighting, bicycle racks, and a lower speed limit to make the streets safer and more business-friendly. It basically incorporates everything you can imagine, including, these guys are with it when they came up with this plan, so it even has a smartphone app. So soon you'll be able to say, Williamsville, there's an app for that. See, the old people don't get that, but you young ones, I'm part of the old people here, but I'm good at reading. Another proposed improvement is the Green Storm Water Retention Project right here on Spring Street. It'll help the village preserve the pristine beauty of Glen Falls and allow the village to reduce the amount of storm water that goes into the sewage treatment plant, all the while improving quality of life for both residents and those who come here to visit and shop. What's more, the Green Stormwater Retention Plan will use rain gardens and other improvements to improve the Spring Street neighborhood. And that's the type of project that should be held as a model throughout the country on how to effectively design a village in order to improve quality of life and at the same time accomplish important public facility goals, such as green. Perhaps most importantly, it will harness the economic potential of the historic sites in Williamsville. Now, the project has a combined construction budget of $6.7 million. It'll create a whole bunch of construction jobs. The plan will create a new off-Main Street business district around historic Mill and Spring Street, and it'll create a permanent home for the renowned Williamsville Farmers Market. It'll create new retail and commercial space. And so once we get this done, almost immediately there'll be another $4 million infused into the mill property, and there'll be much more money that comes in. So this is the kind of project that for every dollar you put in, you're going to get lots more private investment. And that's what always happens. When you do smart infrastructure, then you create private sector investment and private sector jobs. That's been the history of America since the Erie Canal. Okay, so it's a great project, and the Picture Main Street plan is a key to unlocking Williamsville's great potential and helping it continue to thrive as one of America's best villages, which it has the reputation of being. So I've laid out a lot of the benefits of the plan, but there's still a hurdle: money. The Village of Williamsville needs some funding from two key pots to get this project underway, and that's why I'm here, to lend my support and to promise residents not only of Williamsville but of the surrounding communities that I will do everything I can to secure these federal dollars. Okay, here they are. First, there's a program called Transportation Enhancement Program. It's a program that's federally reimbursed. It's administered by New York State Department of Transportation, and it's designed to finance projects that don't come through typical transportation budgets. In other words, if you want to redo the thruway, there's a lot of money for that. But if you have a new and innovative project like this that uses transportation to grow private sector businesses and to make a community more beautiful and more accessible and more wonderful, there's very little federal money for that. So this, or the traditional federal programs, don't fit it. So this program is just made for what Williamsville is trying to do. And I was able to get $30 million put into this program. I love it. In the last transportation budget, which just passed. So it's available for the picking, Mayor. The second program is that we're pushing for comes through the Clean Water Act. It's called the Environmental Facilities Corporation, and it funds demonstration projects for green infrastructure. We've just given New York State, the federal government, $10 million for this. And again, because of the green emphasis on this plan, it's just what the program envisioned. So if we can, the Williamsville plan is innovative in its use of green stormwater retention. So it's an excellent example for EPA and EFC to use when they encourage other communities to explore similar types of systems. So in other words, this project could be sort of the picture Main Street, could not only benefit Williamsville, but serve as a model to similar communities around the country. And it could show how a relatively limited number of federal dollars can leverage a large number of private and state dollars to improve communities. So I am going to invite people from the State Department of Transportation Department, from the Environmental Facilities Corporation, to picture Williamsville's Main Street and Spring Street as they could be, hubs of local commerce with an efficient and green design, room for cars and pedestrians. And it'll be my job to persuade the federal and state officials who use the federal money that this is just the kind of project that was envisioned when we set up these programs. Okay? I want to salute and compliment all of the people of this community who put this great project together. It showed a lot of thought, a lot of carefulness, a lot of thinking. I'm excited about it. And with that, let me call on Mayor Copa.
Thank you. I'd like to start off by thanking Senator Schumer and welcoming him to the Village of Williamsville. Senator Schumer has been helping us with this Picture Main Street project for some time, and he's given us the confidence that we need in the village to think outside the box on this project. Senator Schumer has been the state's leading advocate for smart redevelopment of our community centers. He understands the principles of good urban design, including pedestrian access, are essential to healthy communities and healthy village centers. Williamsville has been one of the major centers for economic development in Western New York over the past 20 years. We're confident that with this project moving forward, we will continue to be for the foreseeable future. We will continue to be an economic catalyst in Western New York. The Picture Main Street initiative is a significant step for the Village of Williamsville, a point of transformation, one in which we see the role of the automobile, the service alley that is Spring Street, transformed into a community that is fully able to embrace its business district, fully able to develop its B streets, its secondary roads. And this, we feel this project exemplifies the type of work that can happen when you work across disciplines, in planning and architecture and design, but also across levels of government, be it federal, state, and local. Our hope is that the village emphasizes walking and cycling over the consumption of fossil fuels. We think that this project spells out the coexistence of economic growth along with meeting the needs of its residents. We thank you again,
My pleasure,
and we look
Brian.
forward to working with you further on this project.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank
Great.
you.
Good. Do you have questions or someone else?
Well,
Ms.
Maria
McPeak?
McPeak, yep, our Business Association President, Maria McPeak.
Thank you. Hi. I was asked to talk about how this project will influence our businesses here. And we have all that have opened and ran businesses here in the village. When we start our businesses, we look at the aesthetics of our building and we look at the quality of our product and really bringing it to a sense, to the community that we're going to do businesses in. And I just think this Picture Main Street is something where we can go outside our front doors and really embrace it through the whole of the community and the business community as well as the residents. And we're just very excited to be a part of it. And we're very excited to be behind Mayor Culpa and everybody in the village just to get this done. And again, being ready to enjoy the benefits of it all.
Thank you.
Thank
Ms.
you.
McPeak. Who else? Who's next? Allie. My daughter is Allie, so I'm partial. She's really
I sort of
Allison.
liked Ellie, though. I'm like, maybe I'll go with Ellie. Thank you, Senator Schumer and Mayor Culpa, for inviting Riverkeeper to come today. We have had the honor for 20 years of working in this community to restore and protect our watershed as a whole. And when we were invited to look at the plans for this green infrastructure project back in the beginning of the design phase, we really saw it as a state-of-the-art green infrastructure project that we could model throughout our community. And I think Senator Schumer touched on this earlier, but the reason Riverkeeper is so invested in green infrastructure is we think it is the most important solution going forward to protecting our watershed. Right now, the biggest threat is stormwater. When we can't take our kids to the beach, which I know these little boys probably love to swim in our waters, when we can't, enjoy the recreational opportunities or have, private sector development because we have contaminated areas, we really, as a region, we lose. And green infrastructure, I think, provides us with so many opportunities. And we've worked really hard in Buffalo to have some model projects, and we would invite everyone to come review them, because when you look at this on these platforms or these poster cards, you can't really tell how this street is going to be completely transformed. And that's what we're so excited, and what we're sort of calling our blue economy, where we both have improvement of water quality, but we're going to actually get green jobs, new private sector development, and the sort of integration of both, which is what we've been working towards for 20 years. And as we move forward on this project, I think Riverkeeper wants to do everything possible to leverage support from both the state and federal funding resources, and make this model that we can replicate, throughout the community, and also showcase, throughout the country, because we think this region really can be a leader on green infrastructure. So thank you very much, and we really appreciate the leadership throughout Williamsville in support for this project.
Thank you, Allie. Thank you. Anyone else, Brian, or is that it? Okay, we're ready for your questions to myself or the mayor or Ms. McPherson on this subject or on any other subject. But first, this subject.
Can you break down the funding again?
Yeah, it's about $3 million from each of the two programs. We'll get to the exact number. Nick, what is the exact? The total is 6.7, but it's around 3. It's about evenly divided between the two.
What's the timetable on this, Senator? When can we see some?
Well, the state has just gotten this money, and you're ready to apply.
Yep.
So sooner the better. We'll keep pushing real hard, real soon.
We've talked a lot about the main streets and the traffic, but what exactly is going to happen here on Spring Street?
I'll let the mayor determine that. As you can see, it's a very nice street, but it could use a little improvement.
Sure. So Spring Street developed as a back alley, a service alley, really for this mill. And it's never been programmed for pedestrian use or for people to access. So what we end up with is a lot of the backsides of businesses, a lot of parking demand, but not a lot of beauty or function. So what we're planning on doing is doing rain gardens basically on both sides of the street, and up some of the side streets. to attempt at 100% stormwater collection. That'll prevent the water from literally rolling over top of the escarpment here into Glen Park. But it'll bring us the capacity to develop sidewalks and infrastructure to make this a pedestrian hospitable realm, which it currently is.
And there'll be lots of stores and shops and things like that.
Yeah, our goal is to see a lot of the backs of these properties on Main Street develop into sort of a small secondary shopping district, enlarge the sort of Main Street shopping experience, business experience, and give it a little bit of depth to our business area.
You could see it could be just a really nice street that people would want to stroll down. It'll be green and beautiful and have nice shops.
Can you talk about plans for the mill?
Sure, actually, maybe I could invite Paul Iskolo from Iskolo Development forward. The village has a partner in the mill development project. Paul Iskolo is that partner. Iskolo Development has been working with the village for 2 years or so,
Correct.
formally. Paul, if you
Yeah, we're currently going through an engineering study on the property. We're really trying to assess what stabilization. There's been some stabilization done for the building that was undertaken by the village. We're assisting the village at this point, doing further investigative work, and our plan is over the next 90 days to advance a proposal forward that discusses the additional work that needs to be done. Ultimately, the long-term goal is a full renovation of the property, and then they have it occupied by businesses that'll add to the economic vitality of this area.
Do you think you'll be able to keep this existing structure since this has been something that's been here forever?
Absolutely. It's unique history and the beauty of the building. It represents a very important part of the industrial heritage of the village of Williamsville going back 200 years. So it's an important historic structure, and it's our intent to renovate the building in a historically appropriate manner.
You talked a little bit about parking and how much
the issues facing the village are, we've for a long time been dealing with parking. Parking is a constant issue. If the Picture Main Street project really talks about smarter use of our existing parking systems. Across the street at the municipal complex, there's spaces for well over 150 cars, and there's usually parking available in that location. What we want to do is make sure that the businesses on the north side of Main Street have access to the parking on the south side of Main Street by creating better crossing opportunities, giving people that sense that they can abandon their automobile and continuing their shopping day or continue their business day or continue their lunch break in the village without having to move their car from place to place. And so that will help offset some of that. It goes further into some parking studies that we've talked about, but the thrust is giving people access and getting them out of their vehicle.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, everybody, and I hope everyone has a great July 4th. Great.
Thank you
Thank
again.
you. Good job. Beautiful building. 202 years old.
That's right.